G'day everybody, Andrew here from the Ark of the Covenant, and welcome back. Thought I'd do another vlog style one for you. Um, so yeah, this one is a really good topic. It's going to be pretty, I think, easy for everyone to follow along with. In the last post I did, I got to mentioning Adam and Eve, and yeah, let's have a look at what the code leads us to. What meaning the code leads us to for these names, Adam and Eve, or Atom and Eve. All right. So we all know this story of Adam and Eve, and you know me by now. I'm prone to add my perspective to the established stories. So, and even if my perspective isn't exactly new, I'm going to try and hook a few of the established ideas together in a new kind of way by using this original language code to guide the way for us. So now it's been widely accepted that Adam and Eve are a metaphor for the inception of humanity as a species. They're the first pair that reproduced to commence humanity, and in doing so, they they created Cain and Abel, their two sons. Right? But as many people have astutely pointed out, they did not have a daughter, not that we know about. Okay, so that's an obvious problem there. So now, if we consider that there's been a spiritual, conspiratorial, and rather scientific language analysis idea around this name Adam, and that it is actually a hidden phonetical reference to the word atom, atom, as in atomic. But how could that be? Because if the name Adam was in use first, and then subsequently science discovers the atom, well, why did they name it atom if they were honoring Adam? They could have just called this newly discovered single unity of matter. They could have called it an Adam, EM, an Adim, IM, or Adam itself. Right? They would have been honest and clear about the reason for the nomenclature that they use. And so why is this particle called an atom by science? Firstly, consider this about the name Adam. It's a global name. It belongs to the entire world. If you look up in Wiki, I've pasted it in here on the side. I hope maybe you can see it, but the list of uses of this sound Adam, regardless of how you spell it or what symbolism you use or your exact pronunciation. Be it, I think this, I'm going to butcher it, but Chinese is Yadang, Yadang. I'm not good with Chinese. Right? But in every other, in Arabic, Adam, Armenian, Adam, right? Greek, Adam, Hebrew, Adam, Italian, Adamo. It goes on. Japanese, Adamu. All the way down. In Polish, it's Adam. It's retained through. In Portuguese, Adao. And there's a couple of interesting ones right down the bottom, even in Swahili there, Adamu. In Somali, Aden. Okay? In Tamil, Atam, A-T-A-M. We're getting close there. Right? And so we also have Odam and Adam, Odem, O-D-E-M, O-D-A-M, and you'll know probably from the Norse mythology, Odin, O-D-I-N. So we have this thread that runs through all of these languages, and Adam is one of the big clues that we all used to, a long time ago, have the same language system. May not have been exactly the same, dialects would have varied, exact symbols used vary, but the concepts that everyone was symbolizing, they were agreed to, and everyone was using that system. So how is it all possible? Let's ask the code for some guidance. Atom, A-T-O-M, and Eve, E-V. I'm taking out the silent E and I'll explain why as we go along. Right, so the code says that atom, A for unity, T for begin, O for cycle, M for life. So it says an atom is a unity. An atom is a single thing that begins the cycle of life. The A, the unity, the T begins, OM, cycle of life. That's it. There's not much else you can add to that, except to say that, well, that's a spectacularly random coincidence that this language code translates atom to be exactly what an atom is in concept, a single piece of matter that is part of the construction of all life, that begat all life. The Eve, EV, we can just say Eve because V is V. Okay, we don't have anything else to add. If we say V, it's VE, VE, V. Otherwise, it's just V. Okay, so if we have EV, we do have EV. So it's correct to say E, but if we don't pronounce that E at the end, the third letter there, well, it should be EV or EVA. But it has to be pronounced. There's no use putting silent letters, okay? Everything has to have a purpose and a reason. Don't just have junk in there. It's like random, it's like you need to defrag your computer to get the junk out. It's just sitting there taking up space for no reason. Right, so this EV, E for balance, V for vitality, right? The organic energy, the spirit of life, the energy. It's hard to quantify this stuff, right? These words that are intangible, vows and valors and victors, they're intangible qualities, right? And they are examples, right? Like the vino, examples of how we see signs of this invisible energy. So we know it's there because we can see the signs of its actions. So we have balanced vitality, and in fact, life itself is the balance of the vital energy. Right? So in that way, all life can be defined as containing balanced vitality. Because if it wasn't balanced, it wouldn't be alive. So our body temperature range, stats are on the screen, but 97 Fahrenheit, say, to 99 for the Americans, 36 to 37. Okay? It's a 1.1 degrees Celsius range and a 3-degree range. Okay, if it falls out of that range, it's curtains, it's cactus. Right? So it's a very finely balanced system, right? And the isotonic fluids, like inside your cell, that contain all of the ionic matter, right? So it means they're charged particles, calciums, potassiums, magnesiums. They all carry a charge, be it positive or negative. Okay, and so all of this cellular fluid and then the intercellular fluid, that has to all remain in a very tight balance range. So that's why you have your isotonic sports drinks and why Gatorade works the way it does. It helps to give those minerals, those isotonic minerals, back into your body, which get used up and you fall out of balance. So it brings you back into balance, right? That's the whole principle of the balance inside of a living thing is called, well, in fact, I think it's just specifically for humans. You can see the homeo reference, it's homeostasis, if you can see it on the screen there. The stasis, man stable, right? Man not moving. So it's saying that although we are a massive system of imbalanced actions, it's like the weather inside our body. We have too much here, and then it moves that quantity over to there, and we keep the balance back and forward into the cell, back out of the cell, and we just try to keep all of these quantities in balance. So it all works rather nicely if you think of the code in terms of, well, what we are, that balanced life. So the code says atom and EV, are the atomic matter, the atom, and the invisible life force, the Eve. So what it's doing is it's referring to the inception of life. It's the first single-celled repeating cycle which spawned life on Earth had to have been composed of the atomic matter and the energy that it's carried with the matter. Okay, so these things come hand in hand, but if you're going to symbolize it, the two aspects of it, that is, there's the matter side of it and there's the energy side, which is, we can't see it. So the atom has a nucleus and the electrons go around the outside, right? And they move in and out and around and close and out, and this is how it all works. That cycle, in some way, began, which created life. But science knows that it must be what happened, but they don't understand the mechanism that defined the start of life. They don't know how exactly the first spark happened. Right? The first arc, that's what an arc is in electrical terms. When you see the blue spark jump between the gap and the wires, right? That's an arc. It's an electrical arc because it refers to the cycle of energy, a circuit of energy. Right? They don't exactly know, but we assume, or science assumes. So the interpretation I'm going to go with, guys, is that Adam and Eve are the metaphorical ingredients which commenced life on Earth. And ask yourself now, how is it that three major religions, the Islam, I believe, the Jewish and the Catholic, all acknowledge the Old Testament stories? Right? They acknowledge it as law. And for hundreds of thousands of years, they've acknowledged it as law, with this meaning behind it, which I'm saying at least the Catholic Church, the Greeks, the Romans, the Catholics, and then who knows how wide the network spreads of all these people who know about this code and understood that the Adam and Eve story actually means this, and yet perpetrated a completely different version of events, virtually a fairy tale version of events. Whereas they could have quite easily just told the truth and said, well, hey, we noticed that these atoms exist, they must exist, and that they carry this energy, and so there's these two aspects that we believe created life on Earth. Well, simple, just don't lie. No need to lie. Right? If we try Adam, let's test it out. Is Adam better? Does it give a better definition? ADAM? Right? That comes out as unity, deprived, unity, life. So I could try and translate that as a unity. Adam is a unity which deprives the unity of life. No, doesn't work, does it? Right? It's completely the opposite, in fact. To deprive the unity of life would be to separate lives and a life, and that's going to spell the end. So it's exactly the opposite of atom. This is all no coincidence. Right? So if I even just add back in the silent E, for example, right, to make it EVE again, well, I'm just repeating myself because I'm saying the balanced, vital balance. Not really. We didn't use the language that way. There's no need to repeat like that. Okay, so it makes Eve. Oh, sorry. We'll better say first, right? So EVE, it's an incomplete piece of a longer word, right? And the word that it's an incomplete piece of is likely going to be event or even, right? And I'll tell you why a little bit in a sec. But yeah, we have other examples like the word every. Okay, there's plenty of words out there that start with EVE, but there is two strains of etymology that led to that combination EVE coming into play. So it's an illegitimate word in its own right, EVE, right? It's an example of laziness in speech. It's English style laziness. And English people know what I mean. Aussies will know exactly what I mean. We're going to shorten everything down. You know, Darren's just going to end up as Daz, and Barry, you're just going to be Baz. Sorry, that's how it goes in Australia and in England too. Right? So, but it's laziness, because it used to be in the evening. So instead of saying in the evening, it was just shortened to be in the eve or on the eve of. Right? It's not a real word fully. It's a short. It's a what we not a contraction, but it's a participle, I think they call it, or a particle. Right, so the German, look at the German English definition for Eve, meaning evening. It's actually even and eventual. Whereas now, so it's referring to the end of the day, right? It's the evening. It's the eventual. Right? End of the day will come eventually. Right? So the end of the day is what we referred to as event. Right? The evening is the descending of the sun. It's eventual. Okay. Now the other day, forget me if I pronounce your name wrong, mate, but Dacier, you mentioned excellently well that everything would then be eventual, and we're talking about the vent being the Latin reference to wind and winding motion of the wind. And I don't think I was right when I replied and said that yes, it would be balanced. Meaning event would then become a balanced a wind. I don't think that. I don't think I was right there. I think when I looked at this here now, it's showing me that we need to take it through from the Germanic evening rather than the try, because there wasn't a Latin word which matched exactly with event. So there we go. Got to correct as we go along. We're all trying to learn. I mean, I know a lot about this, obviously, but I'm still learning just every day new things. And from you guys too. Thank you, everyone, for your comments and contributions. Okay, it's very valuable. It points me in certain directions, and there's always something interesting there to find. Alright, so here we go, where we're up to. Right, but there I did have it in, right? The Latin word had an even word, but it was evenir and meant to befall. So here we go, I forgot even, so I get lost in the links. There is a link. It's the concept between befall in the Latin evenir and the evening, or the even, in the English meaning descending of the sun. Can you see how that's the same thing? To befall. And the be being beneficial, and the sun we saw, and the rising of the sun as a beneficial, beginning to the new day. Well, it was the be fall, it was the benefit falling. Not bad, hey? So there is a link there, the descending of the sun, the be fall, the evening, the English evening, which is said to be, again, Germanic origin, not Latin. The same language, guys. Once again, we're finding it everywhere we look, okay? They're the same. They're of the same, but they're not the same. They became different because they got separated and lost and divided. Okay, so these are the real meanings of all the words, guys. I mean, the dictionary doesn't lie. I don't have to make up fake tricks or try and do any kind of, create new words or anything like that. Just rediscovering old words and their real meanings. Right, so Eve, it's from the English meaning descending and befalling. Well, is Eve, EVE, I should say, from the meaning descending or befalling? Does that sound right? That the feminine creator of all existence is descending or befalling, her name meant befalling? Well, maybe. Interesting, isn't it? Because she took the forbidden fruit, and in that way, they say we fell, and it was the original sin. So there is a link there, okay, in the evening and the eve, in the reference to descending and falling. But it's wrong, isn't it? Because in terms of creation and the real story, well, we didn't fall, right? The female created, the positive energy created, and it continues to create. Nothing has changed. So there was no fall. We were told linguistically, because it affects the way we think subconsciously, the symbolism woven into people, that the concept of Eve meant to befall, to fall down, and it was sewn into the language to refer to this Bible story. And that paints the feminine in a very bad light. And we know what happened after that. All right? It's a linguistic trick. Okay? It referred to the female aspect of the energy being on the decline, and that is exactly what it led to. Right? The language you speak determines the way you think. Oh, I'm going to say it over and over again, subconsciously, without us noticing exactly why we suddenly act in certain ways and why we change the way we think and we view things, not realizing we're being led. Right. It's EV. The language builders hid the code and hid the meaning. They added a silent E. Is it Adam? No, of course not. It is atom, a unity that begins the cycle of life. Imagine a great loss of life. Now all the wisdom of the world was snuffed out, but a few Highlanders survive. Some simple farmers, some hillbillies. They speak the language. They know its sounds and even some of its symbols, but not in the same highly intellectual manner of the lowland city dwellers in the big cities in the Atlantis, perhaps. And they remembered that the wise people used to call the matter particles something back in the old days. Now, it would have gone something like this. What was it again? Was it agam or avum, acum? Something like that. Fred scratched his head and paced around in circles, avoiding the work that his cousin Roger wasn't shy of. It was Adam. The matter particles were called atoms. Roger called out from the back of the barn, but his voice was muffled behind a tower of bales. Did you say atom or Adam? Fred shouted back. I said Adam. Roger hollered back in frustration. Okay, now Roger, he became a very privileged person. He had this insight, he had that confidence, and said, no, this was how the language went. Okay, and people believed him. And he became an elite. He became a wise person in the society. Okay? But he wasn't correct, was he? No, Roger was wrong. But as he spoke up with confidence, people believed him. It sounded close enough to also what they remembered. Right? And he would soon come to learn, maybe not himself, but down the track, his descendants benefiting from this fake wisdom. Uh, it, it, he would basically, his ancestors figure out that he shouldn't have said Adam, that the code should have been atom, right? And then his ancestors, benefiting from their privileged position, decided to keep it a secret, to keep it for themselves. Okay? They used it like a trick. They tricked people into believing that they had magic powers, that these people at the elite level, excuse me, in the church had special powers because God spoke to them. And of course, the word spoke is used in two places. It's the support mechanism for a circle, a wheel, and it's the words that we use. All right, guys, I'll wrap it up. It's gone way too long. Hope you had a bit of fun. Thanks for contributing to the group, and keep being nice to each other out there and spread the word out there. The more people know, the better it is for all of us. Right? Want the truth. We can handle the truth. All right, guys. See you soon.